Yes, good afternoon again. I'm Raul MURESAN from ODIHR, accompanied by my colleague Septimus Pârvu, who is one of our experts on campaign finance. I will sort of after lunch try to maybe present some general points to start the discussion. Not so much probably on the, let's say, specifics of the campaign finance, but rather where campaign finance fits as a topic, among other topics, in the processes of electoral reforms throughout the Balkans. So yes, I coordinate a project for the last 4.5 years dealing with what's called electoral reform, which amongst other also includes addressing our recommendations, so the recommendations, including in Albania. As a couple of general remarks, I can say that the electoral reform is high on the agenda. I can say compared to 4 or 5 years ago, definitely there is more discussion on the topic. Of course, differs between country and country, between different, there are different modalities, different types of working groups working on this. But of course, the bulk of the work, let's say, relates to legal reform. Yeah, so that's I think the first step that many of our recommendations offer for consideration. The need to I hope you can still hear me. Yes, the need to review the legal framework as first and foremost. Albania, I will not talk much about this because you know it well. There are working groups under the parliament. Usually there is one in Bosnia, there is one in Montenegro. North Macedonia, not much is happening now because they had elections. Serbia, they had one, they're having elections coming, and in Kosovo also they had elections. Let's see what happens next. But overall, I can say one thing, that the input of the civil society is somehow limited, if anything. I'm happy to be here, and you know, it's great to see such an event being organized by KIK. And as a main challenge, what I see is, of course, the political framework within which we all have to work. Yeah, so that sort of impacts all our work. There are different challenges, different priorities. There is the opportunities for electoral reform are rather limited. I was looking at, for example, for my project, 30% of the time the project cannot function because of ongoing elections or election observation activities. So that's quite, you know, that's quite a lot. Also, early elections or the spectrum of early elections. There were early elections in Kosovo, so of course electoral reform was on hold. You know the Albania very well, as I said, I will not dwell on this, but on Montenegro, Macedonia, and Serbia, we will have early elections now in April, early parliamentary elections. So the window of electoral reform also is closed because of that. My colleague Septimus will talk more about the campaign finance regulations we had on Albania. But I was looking at general numbers, and maybe if you are interested, for example, from a regional perspective, we have some 670 recommendations in the last couple of missions in each beneficiary. So going back to elections in each of the 6 beneficiaries. In terms of numbers, of those 72 relate to campaign finance. So that's quite a significant number, I guess. Yeah, it's like almost 10%. And of those, we also have our missions evaluate the implementation of these recommendations. Of those 72, so far we evaluated some 40 of them. And from 40, only 4 are evaluated as fully implemented. 2 are as mostly implemented, and 17 as partially implemented. And 15 are not implemented. So there is definitely a long way ahead in addressing these recommendations. And in Albania, I was looking over the last 4 or 5 reports. I think we have or last 5, I think. On campaign finance, we have 9 recommendations. 3 are not evaluated because they are from the last election observation mission we had for the last year's elections. So that leaves us with 6. And of the 6, 3 were partially implemented and 3 not implemented. So yeah, I think this conference helps with seeing what can be done and how we can do faster now that there is also the ad hoc parliamentary committee, we understand, has been established. So definitely there is the time is now. I pass the floor to Septimius for more specific comments on Albania recommendations, and then I'll be happy to take questions a bit later. Thank you for your time.